Very jolly good evening to you out there on Afia TV. Of course, this is the Afia Home of Sports, and it's the Banter Box edition of our weekly shows on Afia TV as usual. Welcome to the show. It is a great time indeed. Thursday, the 21st day of the month of August, the year of our Lord 2025. And welcome to the show, like I've said before. I remain CC Emechebe, also known as CC the Rabbi, your host for today. And clearly, I'm not alone. Emeka Madoka, the priest of football, Fremelo, is here as usual.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, very good. We have so much to handle when there's very, very little time. First of all, we're looking at the headlines. The headlines are there for all to see. And the headlines, first of all, it's just one day. Yes, one day for us to beat our chest and then show that the NPFL have the integrity, their integrity restored. What do I mean? The date was set a while ago. The 22nd of August was penned down as the resumption date for the NPFL, the 22nd of August, and it's about to become a reality. Less than 24 hours from today, we're going to have the NPFL fixtures coming in, or the NPFL games, starting with Remo Stars, the defending champions, hosting Rivers United, the runners-up. And that's what we're going to see on Friday, that is tomorrow, the 22nd day of August. No games on Saturday, but many of the games, the rest of the games will be on Sunday, including Enugu Rangers, our very own Rangers International, who will be having their clash with Kun Khalifat of Owerri in the Oriental Derby. Well, not the Oriental Derby, but one of the Oriental Derbies, and that's how we start the season. So that's the first headline. Secondly, the NNL, the second division of the Nigerian football pyramid, the NNL, Nigerian National League, will be holding their AGM, annual general meeting, and the date has been shifted from the 10th of September to Saturday, the 13th of September, and it's going to be taking place in Kaduna, so a lot's going to happen there. We're going to see the fixtures that will come out from there and a number of other things that will happen in the NNL, so we're looking forward to that. Then the third bit of news here, it's sort of good news. It's a milestone because the Super Eagles, well, you can call them Super Eagles B, but still they are Super Eagles. They are home-based Eagles. They've had a very dismal outing, but there are some positives from the African Nations Championship. Even though they crashed out, having lost to Senegal in the first match, and then 1-0, and then lost to Sudan 4-0 in the second match, there were some positives. Finally, we could see the pairing of Anas Yusuf, the highest goal scorer in the NPFL last season for Nasarawa United, with 18 goals, and then Alimi Sikiru. They were together and both were on the score sheet to defeat Congo by 2-0. So that's actually one piece of good news. They left with their heads held high. But there's one other bit of news now. It has to do with the youngest ever appearance or youngest ever player to represent the Eagles, whether the A team or the B team, referring to this young man, 15-year-old Ebenezer Harcourt. He's 15 years old. Did I just say 15? Yeah, he's 15 years old, and he broke into the team. And he is the youngest ever to feature for the Super Eagles at any level. So congratulations. We know that he's going to have a very bright future ahead of him. And still on the issue of the Eagles, a very, very dependable Eagle. No, he hasn't fallen anyway, but he has announced his retirement. I'm referring to none other than Brown Ideye, MON, member of the Order of the Niger, the former Eimba player. He just finished playing for Eimba, Brown Ideye, 443 appearances in all competitions, in cup competition, and then, of course, 159 goals, a modest return indeed for a player who's been there, done that, a winner of the African Cup of Nations with Nigeria, the last time Nigeria won it in the year 2013 under the late Stephen Okechukwu Keshi, the legend himself. You can see the statistics there, 159 goals in 443 appearances. Some of the clubs that he played for, many of them in Europe. He played in England also, West Bromwich Albion. He played there and he did everything, went through all the time from 2006, a 19-year career just ended now in 2024-25, where his last team was Eimba. Of course, that picture courtesy of 54 Football X. We thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to do that. And the other bit of news still on this issue. One more piece of news that we have. It's not the best of news. It has to do with a corruption allegation. A corruption allegation regarding the former Aqua United, Kwara United, and Plateau United goalkeeper, referring to Adewale Adeyinka. Unfortunately, United in his playing days, but this wasn't a very, very big thing to promote unity because he's been accused. It's an accusation, an allegation. He's been accused of betting irregularities, betting issues. So he's meant to appear today. I think by now the record should be there. He should have appeared before the NPFL Inquest Committee to answer to the charges that have been laid against him regarding betting allegations. Betting is something that is not tolerated, and how much more for somebody as seasoned and experienced as a goalkeeper who has made the rounds in the NPFL, playing, like I said, for Kwara United, for Aqua United, and then of course Plateau United. So those are the headlines that we have for today. And we'll go straight into the stories for today. First of all, it's not news. We've talked about that, that the NPFL is kicking off tomorrow.
Less than just 24 hours, yes.
Just less than 24 hours. And what gladdens my heart is that the NPFL board is on trial. Now, why do I say they're on trial? The NPFL board, under the leadership of Ebenezer Harcourt, has done a very good job over the past few years, sanitizing the NPFL, making us always want to love watching our league, our national league, our own domestic league, and we're seeing improvements. Anybody who says that there have not been improvements with each passing season is lying to himself. He's just been delusional, because there have been improvements. Have we gotten where we should get to? Not yet. But we're on the way to that point, and we've seen that. So Honorable Ebenezer Harcourt doing a very good job, and then of course Davis Nwumi, his right-hand man, being the COO, the Chief Operating Officer, doing a very good job. So what I'm saying that they're on trial is that in recent past, we have seen situations where the NPFL season has been announced, a date has been set, and the date has been changed no less than 2 times.
Yes.
And it smacks of lack of integrity. So that's why I say we have less than 24 hours to checkmate them and then see, okay, the integrity of the NPFL board is restored. The league was set to start in August 22nd, and indeed it started. So tomorrow, we're going to have, God willing, the fixture between Remo Stars, the defending champions, and Rivers United, the runners-up. Now, it's exciting indeed. Let's just talk about that. You look at the match day 1 fixtures. These are games that we're looking forward to seeing. Pardon for the mix-up. There's a little bit of a mix-up there regarding the days. They're all lumped up because it's basically match day 1, which kicks off tomorrow. So that's why there was no clear demarcation between Friday matches and Sunday matches. But you can see there, like I said earlier, Remo Stars will be hosting Rivers United. That's the only game for tomorrow. The other games are going to take place at the same time by 4 p.m., where Afia Warriors will be hosting Canopilas.
We did already take on Plateau United. You have Kaduna United taking on Warri Wolves. Our dear Rangers at the Cathedral will be hosting Con Califat on a rental derby, not the Oriental derby, but an Oriental derby there. Our Korea United will be hosting the Ikorodu Boys, Aga Boys as they call them.
Yes.
Hoping to fire on all cylinders this season. Our Economy Warriors are home against Better Insurance. We have Shooting Stars against Bayelsa United. We have Baru FC, one of the new boys, hosting Eimba on match day 1. Niger Tornadoes do host Nassau United, and that's how the match week 1 plans out in the NPFL. Indeed,
that is how match week 1 plans out in the NPFL, and we're looking forward to that. But our major focus has to be the team that we have a dear affection for, the team that is in a state where we are domiciled, where we live, where we work.
Gerald Enugu Rangers.
Yes, they are the old Enugu Rangers here in 042 in Nigeria. And we know that the fixtures are out. The first 5 fixtures of Rangers International are out. Like I said, the first match is going to be at home at the Cathedral against Kun Califat. The second game is going to be the next week, Sunday the 31st of August, where Rangers will travel to Warri in the Delta State to face Warri Wolves, newly promoted Warri Wolves. So 2 consecutive promoted sides Rangers will face. It's getting a bit tougher. Please give us the remaining fixtures.
Well, after they take on Warri Wolves away, they will host at the Cathedral Plateau United on Sunday, 7th of September. Then they take a trip to Kano, where they are going to play up against Kano Pillars on the 14th of September away from home. Then they return back to action at the Cathedral against Afia Warriors a week after. So
the first 5 fixtures, as we can see there, the first 5 fixtures, you have the first fixture, which is an Oriental derby at home, and then the 5th is another Oriental derby at home. Probably the toughest if you're talking about the league position where they finish, because Afia Warriors are the highest ranked Eastern side, Oriental side from last season. They finished 3rd. They finished that behind Remo Stars and Rivers United. So it's going to be a tough one, even though it's going to be at the Cathedral.
Yes.
Emeka, I want to ask you, let's just throw it to you right now. You're looking at those fixtures. Yes, people might say promoted sides, walkover, or it's not always the case. You're looking at Kun Khalifat, and then you're looking at Warri Wolves, who we know have been a staple before in the NPFL. You're looking at other teams like Plateau United. You're looking at, say, Mesugida, no, that's Kano Pillars, where they have to travel to Sani Abacha Stadium. Remember what they did last season, coming to the Cathedral, beating Rangers 4-0 in the first half. It took a brace from Isaac Xavier, who has now left, to restore parity, and then eventually ended 4-3 at home.
Yes.
But Rangers went to this same fixture we're talking about and lost by 2-1. So it's never going to be an easy.
Well, I mean, it's never an easy fixture when it comes to Oriental derbies or when it involves Enugu Rangers. But I mean, this is going to be exciting to watch this season. The top five, the first five fixtures look like they are juicy ones for Rangers. I mean, if they can get the tactics right and the game plan set on the first day against Kun Khalifa, I believe that is going to set the tone for the rest of the match weeks to come. Warri Wolves, they just have to go away, try and get the mentality. It's not your home stadium. You have to be red hot. You have to fire on all cylinders. You have to give it there. Then you come back against Abia Warriors. You've just got to give it your all at the Cathedral. I mean, this is a team you didn't do too well against last season. You have to try and set the tone and say, okay, this is a brand new season. We're going to give our all. We're going to make sure that we defend the pride and honor of the Cathedral. We're going to get one of our Oriental bodies over here, and that's what they have to do. Then set the tone for the rest of the fixtures.
Okay, so Emeka, I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Predictions.
First of all, before predictions, two things. First of all, I'm going to ask, and naturally, these two questions they are somewhat related.
All right.
Somewhat related. The first question, of course, predictions is the second question, but the first question is this: which of these fixtures that are there from this top five are the potential banana skins, the ones that Rangers are likely to struggle to get a result from? And then secondly, predictions.
I believe Warri Wolves will be a tough game, but I feel...
Why so?
Because in time past, when they were in the NPFL before getting relegated, I mean, they've played against Rangers, and we've seen some games before where Rangers had some struggles against Warri Wolves. I mean, this might be a completely different Warri Wolves from the particular team they played the last time.
Obviously.
And now it's now based on the GM of Adewale Enugu Rangers to get himself in line with the boys, get them pumped and ready for the next fixture against these guys. So, okay, this is a brand new season. This is a different Warri Wolves from the last time we played them in the NPFL. We have to get the 3 points, the maximum points. A draw is not going to force us. A loss is not going to do it. Only a win. You've got to get the boys red hot and prepare them that only a win will do in this fixture. I believe Abia Warriors is going to be the biggest game they're going to play in the first 5 games. I mean, those are obviously the toughest opponents they have in the first 5. And if they can't get it right on the night, I believe they can maybe just shave with a narrow victory. Just a narrow victory there.
Okay, so first of all, just as an aside, it's if only one can be a fly on the wall of Davis Noumi's office or room to have an idea of what's going through his mind concerning that fixture, that is Warri Wolves welcoming Rangers, because he was once the CEO of both teams.
Yes.
So I mean, once you know where allegiances lie, even though we know he's from that area, from that axis. But that aside, there are a maximum of 15 points to get from this.
Yes.
5 games, 3 points apiece, 15 points. How many points do you see Rangers getting from this? And where are the points likely to be dropped?
In all honesty, if to look at these first 5 fixtures, out of 15, possibly maybe an 8 or 9. I'm just being building off from last season's form. I predict maybe a 9 points out of 15 at most. I don't see them getting
3 wins and 2 losses.
I don't really see them getting a maximum 15 points, if I'm being honest, because we still have to see what these boys can give. The new signings and the old boys, how they can gel together, how they can get themselves ready for these fixtures. Maybe the 3 points will come from Kun Khalifa that still stand to be corrected. I predict maybe a draw with Warri Wolves and maybe another draw with Abia Warriors. Kano Pillars maybe getting 3 points if they get the job done on the night. Plateau United should be a good game for Enugu Rangers if they get the tactics right. So I believe those are where the points will come from, and the drop points should come from maybe Warri Wolves and Abia Warriors. in my book.
Words. Okay. Well, because
At worst case, at maybe Kano Pillars if they don't get it right on the day. Because Kano Pillars roadhoused Enugu Rangers last season. So they have to take this and be like, okay, we're going to fuel ourselves with the passion to come back and show them that, okay, last season was a fluke. This season we're ready for you. Bring it on.
Okay. Anyway, I'll just take that. Okay, fine. 9 points, thereabouts.
At most, from my side, yes.
Probably. So, well, it will be, it's safe to infer that sometimes maybe, considering the fact that there are 2 games there that are away games, referring to Warri Wolves and then Kano Pillars.
Yes.
A trip to Warri in Delta State, a trip to Kano in Kano State in the north. You drop those points and then probably the remaining 9 points up for grabs are home games. Not even as easy as it sounds, because the first game that Rangers played last season, the corresponding that match week 1 was against El Kanemi Warriors, who just won the Federations Cup, President's Federations Cup. Yes. And it was a goalless draw in the Cathedral. So, and they just got promoted too. So I guess we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed and see how match week 1 goes. We can only hope and pray and just vibes and inshallah. I guess that's where we are right now.
Yes.
Okay, so moving to the next thing very quickly. First of all, we wish Rangers International all the best. Wish all the best. We want them to start on a positive note, hit the ground running, and get the results that are needed. Now, the next one there, it's no longer news. The Chan Eagles, the Chan 2024 tournament, that is the African Nations Championship, has gotten to the business end now, the knockout stage.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Nigeria's representatives were not able to get through because in the Group D, which is the group of death,
yes,
there was a lot of death of discipline and many other things there, losing the first 2 games, which was what sealed Nigeria's fate. But Nigeria eventually got a win, very, very important moral-boosting win for Eric Sekuchel's boys against Congo. And that was essential. The 2 goal scorers were the strikers up front. It was a 4-2-2-2 formation that had Anas Yusuf, the highest goal scorer for the NPFL last season with 18 goals for Nassau United. And then Ali Misikiru, he scored the last goal there after a red card was shown to a Congo opponent. And he scored in the dying seconds of extra time in the 90th minute. So he ended 2-0. And as a result of that, finishing third secured Nigeria. At least there's a bit of good news too. Not just the news of Ebenezer Harcourt being the youngest player to represent the Eagles. Not just the fact that there was a win, but the fact that because of finishing third, Nigeria have now gotten themselves $300,000 as a match bonus for finishing third. So congratulations. At least you can use that one to drown your sorrows away. Don't ask me how you drown your sorrows. But
at least it's a consoling prize. They can use that one to just give themselves motivation to prepare for the next tournament ahead.
Okay, let's hope
Sekuchel will maybe take some few positives out of this and see what he can build up for future tournaments as well.
He had better, because 9th of September is just around the corner. When Nigeria will be traveling to Bloemfontein to face South Africa in the World Cup qualifiers. My piano derby indeed.
Yes.
We have to be on that plane to the United States of America, Mexico, and Canada. It has to be done. So, Eric Secretary,
2026 is the objective.
It's the objective. It has to be done. So please, let that happen. Now, still on the Chan tournament, let's just tidy up things. Like I said earlier, the fixtures, we're now in we're not there anymore. But anyway, the point is, the knockout stages are here, and then the fixtures for knockout stages are there for all to see. Beginning tomorrow, we're going to see the games. First of all, Kenya will be facing Madagascar in the first quarterfinals. Yes. Kenya against Madagascar, and then Tanzania up against Morocco. Those games are going to be by 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. respectively. So Kenya, one of the co-hosts, will be hosting Madagascar. Yes, they are still hosts, so they'll be hosting Madagascar, and they'll want to get that win. And then Tanzania, another co-host, will be hosting Morocco, and they'll want to get that win. Very important. Then the 23rd, which is the next day, being Saturday, another co-host, Uganda, will be hosting Senegal, the defending champions, the toughest one for them.
Toughest fixture.
Indeed. And then Sudan will be hosting Algeria. Yes, Sudan. Anytime Nigeria hears Sudan, they'll wake up with cold sweats because of the 4-0 mauling that happened there. But those are the fixtures for the quarterfinals. Which is your pick, Emeka?
For match of the week, or which one am I picking?
Oh, your pick from this, that's the...
Who are progressing?
Yeah, basically, like, which is going to be the most interesting match to you, and who's
Basically, it's going to be Senegal versus Uganda, the defending champions, as you've correctly pointed out, versus Uganda, one of the hosts. I mean, that's going to be a key fixture to look at. Will one of the hosts be emerging as victors from that game, or will the defending champions do what they did in the last tournament, which is progress? So it's going to be one to watch out for. I mean, the Tanzanian game is another game that is going to be highly watched.
Another host?
Yes, another host. I mean, you have to keep your eyes on the hosts, what they can do. They've got themselves to these latter stages now. What can they produce?
But they are facing powerhouses Morocco.
That is the thing. This year we've seen the story of the underdogs. Can the underdogs throw the big boys, as they say, and get the... We've seen it in Europe, why not in Africa?
I have a theory regarding underdogs. They are underdogs because they're under, and then it gets to some vital places where
fingers crossed, the underdogs can give us something interesting to watch as neutrals, I mean.
Okay, we'll just watch and see. So, okay, with a bit of ambiguity, I'm trying to get you, but still, no problem. He hasn't, for the record, he hasn't given any predictions, but no problem. We'll get to that.
Maybe I predict a Senegal beating Uganda. I don't see the host there maybe prevailing in that game. Okay. I see maybe Algeria progressing from their match. I see Morocco progressing as well. I don't see the hosts really taking it from a ball. Who knows? The underdogs could have a good story.
Okay, I guess Saturday, the 23rd of August, by around 8 p.m. or thereabouts, when the last game would have ended, barring penalties, we'll know for sure who the semi-finalists are in this tournament. All right, so stick around. We'll be right back after this short break. We're going to go to other parts. Of course, something happened. Like a thief in the night, something happened last night. And I'm very sure one or two of you have an idea what I'm talking about. There's already a clue when you look at me regarding what happened. When somebody asked, let's just leave it at that. No, this is Afia Sports, the banter box. The frequencies still remain the same on Afia TV, channel 254, DSTV, channel 17, Go TV, and channel 748, Free TV. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after these short messages. Welcome back to the Afia Sports Show. Of course, this is the Afia Banter Box with a bit of banter, where banter lives. On Afia TV, the frequencies still remain the same, like I said before. Channel 254, DSTV, channel 17, Go TV, and channel 748, Free TV. Welcome to the show. I still remain Sisi Emechebe, aka Sisi the Rabbi, and I'm not doing this alone. Emeka Maduka, the priest of football, Femelo, is here with me.
Thank you for having me once more again.
And we're back right now with transfer news. Let's just skip some of the transfer news that's been moving around and get to something that happened.
The key one of the day.
Yeah, the key one of the day. Like a thief in the night, something happened yesterday. But let me give you context. On the 10th of August, the current sporting director of Arsenal Football Club, Andrea Berta, made a move officially for the services of the creative midfield and the playmaker extraordinaire of Crystal Palace, the talisman of Crystal Palace Football Club, based in South London. Selhurst Park is their ground, their footballing ground. And the services of Ebenezer Harcourt were needed there. Now, Ebenezer Harcourt already had some connections with Arsenal Football Club. He played in Arsenal Football Club as a trainee. He was there in the academy. He didn't make the cut because there's a certain quota that was collected, and then the most talented of the players are selected, and there's no sentiment. So he just didn't make the cut narrowly. He cried about that and went on to represent other clubs like Queen's Park Rangers, that's QPR, still in Southwest London, before landing in Selhurst Park for Crystal Palace. Now, he was just 13 and he cried that night, unfortunately. But he's always been a lifelong Arsenal fan, and he saw a big opportunity on the 10th of August when the bid was formally made by Arsenal to get him. But the bid that was made to get the services of Ebenezer were contingent upon the signing or lack thereof of a new contract by the young star, the prodigy, Ethan Nwaneri of Arsenal, who had a very beautiful debut season coming from the Hill End Academy. Yes. So what was going to happen was that there was an uncertainty. Arsenal board were not sure whether he was going to sign a new contract. Then as a result of that, he hadn't signed yet, so the interest in Ebenezer Eze was increased, assuming he left, because something similar happened last season. Chido Obi-Martin moved from there and then went to Manchester United. Aiden Heaven, a defender, went to Manchester United. Other players have done that in the past, like people like Omari Hutchinson moved to Chelsea, and so on and so forth. It's a normal thing that happens. But because of the brilliance of Ethan Nwaneri last season, it was a very bitter pill to swallow. They were not too sure. So Ebenezer Eze was needed. But at the point, Ethan Nwaneri was given assurances of his future in Arsenal and then where he will play. He will play a more central role. He signed a new contract. So as a result, Arsenal did not really desperately need Ebenezer Eze, but they still needed him. But they had to just cool down the interest and depend on outgoings. That is, players, because Arsenal have signed, before this Eze issue, Arsenal had signed 6 players already this summer. 6 to bolster the squad. And then as a result of that, they had to sell some players, because of PSR and FFP.
To balance out the checks and books.
Exactly, to balance the books, clear the wage bill, and do a number of things. Now, that was what Arsenal was trying to do. But Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal's bitter rivals, territorial rivals, sworn enemies, swooped in and then got advanced in discussions with Crystal Palace. Since Arsenal had cooled down, they were not really saying much about Ebenezer Eze. And Eze, a lifelong Arsenal fan, still has ambitions to play in the UEFA Champions League. And Tottenham Hotspur
being in the Champions
League. So he said, you know what, I'll just have to play for Tottenham. He was interested, but because he felt Arsenal had cooled down and he was losing his chance to do that. So Tottenham Hotspur was already in advanced talks. In fact, as we speak today, being Thursday, the 21st of August, they were supposed to unveil him, to get him for a medical and then unveil him formally, because they needed his services because of the injury, the ACL injury that James Maddison picked. As a result of that, they had to pursue a similar player in terms of creativity and playmaking abilities. Only for Arsenal, because of the injury in training to Kai Havertz, Arsenal just had to go and resurrect that bit fast. And within 2 hours, Arsenal got Ebenezer Eze's camp to say yes and turn down Tottenham. So now Tottenham fans are waking up to the news and they are shocked that this was a coup that happened under their noses. That's the summary of everything that happened there. Now, of course, Arsenal was a bigger prospect to him, and it helped that he's an Arsenal fan. But it's looking all... Emeka, somebody is still trying to wake up from the dream. Run us through this and tell me, first of all, will he regret choosing Arsenal over Tottenham Hotspur?
No, this is dicey when you look at the Ebenezer Eze case, because when you're looking at the two sides, these are two bitter rivals that were fighting for his services. On one hand, he had an Arsenal who he's a long-time fan of. Yes, got rejected at 13, but still kept the faith that he will play for them one day.
I still have an objection to that. He wasn't rejected. Actually, he wasn't rejected.
In his own terms, yeah, I'm using his terms.
What would a 13-year-old say? I digress. Go on.
Using his own terms, he was rejected, but he still kept the faith that he will play for Arsenal one day. Good and fine, we understand your reasons on that. Now, you look at Tottenham, they had an injury to Maddison, which will rule him out for most of the season.
7 to 8 months.
7 to 8 months, that's most of the season. Now, you see there's an opportunity where you're going to slot straight into the first team, uncontended. You're going to get the fee you want, you're going to get that position, you're going to get the Champions League that you want. Now, there's Arsenal, who also in the Champions League, who is your dream team, but your starting place is in contention. From a neutral perspective, what a basic person would believe Ebenezer Eze will have done is go for the Tottenham move, because on paper, that seems like the more logical move to make. But when it comes down to football, there are other factors you need to consider. It's not just about the logical. It's also about the emotional from the player's aspect. And when this news broke out yesterday, I only had one thought on my mind. It's just down to the whole boyhood dream of playing for Arsenal. That is why he made the switch. If he wasn't a long-time fan for Arsenal, I'm very sure he will have still stuck by his move to Tottenham. I feel like emotions I've been swayed into this. He's going to say, okay, I have a chance to play for the dream team I've been wanting to play for. I'm still going to get my Champions League. Now I'm going to have to work hard to fight for my place. Good and fine. We love that you want to give the competition for your place. You want to fight and earn and deserve your spot in Arsenal. It's still yet to be seen whether you're going to actually fit into that team properly. I mean,
okay, I actually have a counter argument to that.
You're free, go ahead.
There's a lot of merit to what you've said, but this is the angle I'm coming from. Now, I'm going to be as objective as possible.
Okay.
While to lay a foundation for what the argument I want to make. Now, in all honesty, having considered the antecedents of Arsenal Football Club in the last few seasons, let's just say specifically the last 3 seasons.
Yes.
And then you notice, since now why I say 3 seasons is when Arsenal became contenders, and also when you check when Mikel Arteta joined Arsenal, you see the upward trajectory of his reign there. The fact that Arsenal have always climbed higher and higher,
yes.
and progressed at every stage.
And
whether
so
in the Premier League,
finding a stability at the top of the table.
Precisely, and then he's been doing that, a clear sign of progress. Now, if you check that, you're looking at consistency. One of the key factors, the key selling points for Ebenezer was the Champions League. It's not just about emotions. Yes, it will be very, very immature to relegate the emotional tie to the background. No, It's there. It played a major role.
Yes.
But why don't we see it this way, that Ebenezer was looking at Tottenham Hotspur, and the fact that Tottenham Hotspur is playing in the Champions League by default because they managed to win the Europa League. Now, I'm not trying to downplay.
You don't manage to win the Europa League.
Manchester United, who finished 15th. So it's an argument. I'm not saying that.
And they finished 17th.
I'm playing devil's out. That's the point I'm trying to make. They finished, not for the wretched form of teams like Sheffield United, teams like who are they again? I've even forgotten those teams that got relegated.
We had teams like when you looked in town.
No, I mean
Ipswich Town.
Yeah, Ipswich Town got relegated. Sunderland got relegated. Leicester City.
Sunderland got promoted.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Now Sheffield United got relegated. Luton Town got relegated. And then, it wasn't Sheffield United. Sheffield United was 2 seasons ago. But there was a team. I remember vividly. Leicester and
Southampton.
And Southampton. Thank you. Leicester, Southampton got relegated, and Ipswich. Now, the fact that they were horrible was what saved Tottenham from being sucked into the relegation waters. Now, they managed to get into the Champions League because they won the Europa League, but they finished 17th. You can't wipe that away. There is no guarantee that they win the Europa League this season. They're not even in the Europa League, and they're not falling into it because of the league format.
Yes.
So, if you're to look at stability and continuity and consistency in terms of which of these two teams is likely to be in the Champions League consistently, which would you objectively point at that has a greater chance of being in the Champions League season in, season out? These are some of the things. That's an argument.
I get your point, yes.
So I'm not done. That's
okay.
one point.
All right.
And then the other point there, this issue of versatility, and then also that same contention, because there's immediate contention and there's future contention. Let's not forget, Ebenezer, even if this deal, apart from his versatility, even if this deal had gone through, if he had succeeded with Tottenham Hotspur, remember that he's coming in as a placeholder. That's coming in there pending the time Maddison gets fit. And we know how these things work. Maddison comes in, he's eased back in, and then after a while, after some months, Eze finds himself taking the backseat again.
Now, let me tell you this. Maddison comes back from injury, he's not going to slot straight back into the team because managers don't do that in the modern day football. You have to watch how the player has recovered. You have to watch how the player is able to build himself back into the game. So obviously, if Maddison comes back from injury, we're going to see Maddison making appearances as a sub from the bench. Initially, if he plays better than Eze in training, and that is a big if.
That is the if we're talking about here.
It's a big if. He plays better than Eze in the training sections and all that. It's now left to Thomas Frank to know who he's going to opt to pick as his first team player. Now, another thing I want to also now break. You mentioned the continuity of making it to the Champions League. It's not just about making it to the Champions League. How sure are you that you're going to make it to the latter stages? I mean, Arsenal, yes, made it as far as the same as last season. who is guaranteeing them that they're going to make it into the semis this season?
I think your argument is a bit flawed. Let me tell you why your argument there is flawed.
Okay.
We're talking about two teams here. Arsenal Football Club and Tottenham Hotspur. Based on what you're saying, it seems...
I'm not saying Tottenham Hotspur.
You're implying that Tottenham Hotspur have a bigger chance of...
No, I'm not saying that. But on this front
I just want you to hear yourself.
On this front here, get me right. I'm not saying Tottenham have a higher chance than making it to the latter stages than Arsenal. Arsenal clearly do because they are a bigger side. But who is guaranteeing them that either of these clubs would make it to the latter stages? Gambling to go to either team is going to be a huge gamble on your part. Picking North London, looking at the two rivals, what is your guarantee that even if you pick Arsenal or you pick Tottenham, that Champions League that you're chasing so badly, what's the guarantee you're going to make it to the latter stages?
The only other flaw of this argument is that Ebenezer never claimed that he was chasing the Champions League to win it, but to play in it. He had never played in the Champions League. Maybe players' ambitions these days are different. No,
right?
that's the point.
I mean, players' ambitions are to win the tournament.
That's the point. But at least you should start by playing in it. Who else would have offered him? It's not like Real Madrid came in for him. It's not like Bayern Munich came in for him. It's not like maybe International or PSG came in for him. We're talking about the stark realities on ground. So your argument has merit, and I guess mine also has merit. So, well, congratulations to Ebenezer for fulfilling his boyhood dream of joining Arsenal Football Club. That's what I have to say. We'll go on a very, very short break, and we'll tie this up with some more news when we return. Stick around. Don't touch this dial. The dying embers of the Afia Sports Show, Banter Box edition, Thursday, the 21st of August, the year of our Lord 2025. And welcome back to the show. Of course, I still remain CC the Rabbi here in this last stage, but I have another guest just to tie up things with me here. And I'm welcoming back to the set, the definitor himself, Divine Onka.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be here. Good evening.
Good evening to you. So we're going to go very, very quickly. We've been talking, Emeka and I were discussing some of these issues, and there was a real bit of banter concerning the transfer news, especially the Arsenal Tottenham saga concerning Ebenezer. But we're moving down to reality on ground.
All right.
And then we have the Europa League. Of course, the UEFA Champions League qualification is ongoing, and then of course Europa League qualification and UEFA Conference League qualification. Because next week on the 28th and 29th of August, respectively, we're going to have Champions League draws in Nyon, Switzerland, and Europa League UEFA Conference League draws. And we're going to see who will face who in the group stage, the new format from last season in the group stage. But there are some teams that are slugging it out, trying to get to that point where they'll be in pots, whether pot 1, pot 2, pot 3, or pot 4, in a bid to qualify for the group stage of the UEFA Champions League, UEFA Europa League, and UEFA Conference League. We have games, of course, the Europa League playoff rounds. You have Midtjylland, who are currently leading KUPS 2-0. And then Malmo are going to be playing Sigma Olomouc tonight. And then Bran versus AEK Athens, Zrinski against Utrecht, Schenninger against Ludogorets, Maccabi Tel Aviv against Dynamo Kiev, Panathinaikos up against Samson Spor, Slovan against Bratislava against Young Boys of Switzerland, Lech Poznan up against Genk of Belgium, Aberdeen of Scotland against FCSB, then Rijeka up against PAOK Athens, Lincoln RI against Braga. These are going to be matches today. Then in the Conference League, we're going to have Rosenborg against Mainz 05. Halftime, that game is now 1-1. That's 1-1 draw. Then Hacken against Cluj. Then Győr against Rapid. WAC against Omonia Nicosia, Hamron S against RFS, Başakşehir against Craiova, then Sparta Prague up against Riga, Breivik against Virtus. Then we're going to have also Drita against Differendage. Now, their names are this complicated because they're playing the Conference League. Just imagine that. Levski, that was a stray bullet, I know. Levski Sofia against AZ Alkmaar, Schultz against Banik, Olympiacos against Nova FC that played Chelsea last season, imagine. Then Neman against Rayo Vallecano, Policia against Fiorentina, Strasbourg against Brøndby, Anderlecht up against AEK Athens. Then there are many more, but I'll just skip them. Crystal Palace will be playing against Fredrikstad. Now, which of these games stands out for you?
This one you just mentioned, the latter. Crystal Palace game. It's the Conference League, so I see Crystal Palace, at least for this match. I don't want to predict ahead, but for this match, I'm seeing Crystal Palace, coming out tops. This their first European encounter in a long time, so I see them just going forth and just getting all 3 points, getting the job done.
It's really sad for Crystal Palace because they are supposed to be having this discussion in the Europa League, but
no
because
problem,
of the whole issue of party ownership and all that involve Lyon. But anyway,
it is what it
is. That.
Yeah.
So we'll end the show with this news, bad news, but sobering piece of news. The Tigresses won Mission V. That's the 5th title consecutively. We celebrated them. That's the Tigresses, the basketball team for Nigeria, female. Likewise, the basketball team, the Super Falcons, female team for football, Nigeria won Mission X. That is the AFCON, Women's African Cup of Nations. But the Tigers, I don't know why they did this to us, but they crashed out in the quarterfinals by 91 points to 75 points against Senegal. And that happened in the quarterfinal stage, so they missed out on the semifinals. So, I mean, what a man can do, better, seems to be getting traction nowadays. But, I mean, we're ending the show right now, but I mean, what's your take on that?
No.
Are you disappointed as a man?
No, not at all.
You're disappointed that I've been a man? So
I'm talking about the game. It's sports. Come on, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So it's not, you don't always have your day in the sun every time, but it is what it is. We'll come back next year and we'll come back stronger.
Okay, I hope so. I really hope we do. And let's lose graciously, but at the same time, not make it a culture of losing.
Yeah.
That's the size of the package for today. Thank you very much for being with us on Afia TV. Of course, this is the Banter Box edition, Thursday on Afia TV. We're going to do this again next week on Thursday, but we're going to have another session tomorrow where we look at the preview show, the preview for the week, for the weekend. So much is going to happen this week. So tomorrow by 5 p.m., we're going to be here again. Make sure you don't touch that dial. Keep it locked on Afia TV, channels 254 DSTV, channel 17 GoTV, and channel 748 Free TV. Till next time, I remain CC the Rabbi, and I'm signing out. God bless you.
Ciao.